And that leads us to our second expert of the day, who is no less than Marie Fratoni. And Marie is the CEO of Get Clients Everywhere. Now, like in the chat, we interested in getting clients? Yeah, I think so. And so Marie really is completely out there. She's a speaker. She speaks at summits herself. She's a podcast host. She helps businesses owners double or triple. That's what, double or triple their income with tips to overcome overwhelm, negativity, self-doubt, helping women to realize, and remember. I love that word, remember, because sometimes the vicissitudes of life and the outside influences and those naysayers, those discouragement committees help. They actually dismember some of our genius, and Marie is chief among them to help us remember our true power and potential, put it all back together, or put it together for the first time, make faster, more accurate decisions. I welcome you, Marie Fratoni. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You bet. Well, I wanted us to get your wisdom and your take, if you will, on how it is that you help business owners double and triple their income. Give us some of these tips. Come on.
Well, people are awesome. And, many of the people that I get to work with, and I bet you do as well, we've all had some successful careers in corporate America. And then something is calling us to be out there and to kind of do our own thing and to drive our own bus.
Yes.
And then what happens is people have forgotten that they might not have had the training. They don't know how to ask for it. They don't know how to put their programs together, but they're really good. And if you hired them, they'd be terrific. So what I love to do is to help people put some of the basics in place that help them to create their programs, learn how to speak really great, how to charge, how to do sales calls, and really start to get the yeses that allow them to actually serve their clients with their gifts.
Well, that's so rich. And I want to unpack just a little bit of that right now. And that is, teach us how to, as women, and some women have bigger problems with this than others, find it more challenging and bigger barrier than for others, to charge what we're worth.
Yeah, I think a lot of times this is something that I would say, and I say this a lot to people, men will almost never sell on a discount.
That's right.
Women often will. Like, but today it's this or whatever it is. And so that's our way of culturally stepping into mores that have been given to us over the years, that we're not worth the top dollar. I think we also have to look at, what does the market bear? What's the market research out there? What do things really cost? Because, if you're charging something way too much, that can be a problem, as well as not charging enough. So how do you actually do your research and know what is really there? And I think sometimes having a conversation with some sage people can really make a difference in helping you see things, or what you could actually charge more for, or what you should actually provide. So I think that's a fine tune. Most people don't really take the time as they're starting to actually do that. They just jump in and say, I'm going to charge $997, and they don't really know where that came from.
Yeah. It's not 1,000, so it's cheaper than 1,000. Exactly. So we'll do the 97 thing, right? Exactly. I heard the story about a woman executive, and she really held the whole department together. She was like the glue, right? And so she had her office pretty close to the boss's office in the corner of that corporate suite. And she would see men going in and out of that office about the same time each year and coming out with a big smile on their face and everything. And she hadn't had a raise in 3 years, Marie. Hadn't had a raise in 3 years. She finally musters the courage to go in and say to her boss, who hardly looks up, he's typing on his laptop, hardly looks up when she says, excuse me, Mr. So-and-so, I feel that I haven't had a raise in 3 years, and I would like to have a raise of 3%. Doesn't look up. He said, okay, fine. She says, excuse me, fine. Why didn't you go ahead and give me that raise? Didn't think about it. Wow. So we have systems in this world, certainly in the United States of America, that otherwise keep us down like almost as soon as we get out of bed in the morning. And this is some aspect that I think a lot of women have get the personal thing down. Like, oh, I have black and brown and yellow and Asian friends, right? So I'm not a racist, right? But the systems, all a white person has to do is nothing to perpetuate racism, right? So I want to get to how you energize, women about overcoming that self-doubt that we're worth the raise, and we need to march into those offices if we're in corporate America and ask for what we're worth.
It's really great. I would love to share a story with you about busting a barrier
Let's do
that
it.
I think relates to that. So in the early 80s, probably in 1983-ish, I used to work for a company. It was called the American Association of Industrial Management. I was in the New England division. It was a company that was founded in 1899. It was part of the Old Boy Network. And I was the first woman that they hired that was not a secretary. I
Oh
was
my
the
God.
marketing sales manager for the training and development group. So all the corporate trainers out there, I've been one of them as well. And I remember that one of the things, the people that joined that association were companies, not individuals.
Okay.
I was like the kid in the candy store. I mean, I was getting to work with government, I was getting to work with big banks, I was getting to work with high tech companies. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
We worked with the C-level employees of the leadership in the companies. But what I noticed was we were catering in the human resource realm to a lot of women human resources directors. So in 1983, I started the first women's professional development network, and all the guys, who were great guys, by the way, I mean, I learned a lot. They were fabulous. They
Yeah.
were leaders in their own realm. They looked at me like, "What are you talking about, a women's network?"
Yes.
Well, it was their biggest population in the association that they hadn't noticed. And so they finally gave me the okay. The first night we had that event, we were sold out. The president of the association, a big labor lawyer, was moving tables and chairs and adding more things to that. That group became the fastest growing silo and the most profitable of the association since 1899.
Oh my gosh.
So when I say that, there's part of what you're talking about there, Deborah, is I think it's how we posture. Going in and having a difficult conversation where we're not grounded in our body. Our feet aren't touching the floor. Our legs are twisted. We're looking down. We're not standing in the fullness of our power. We're not using our voice to the standing of our power. And so that particular instance really led, and the Equal Rights Amendment was not even passed at that particular point, but it was up for ratification. It
Yes.
was only the time when women were starting to wear slacks to work.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So it's a different time. But over that somehow gave me the opportunity to be able to move forward and to work with. It took guts to be able to do that. It took courage. It took the willingness to be vulnerable and to have it not succeed. But there was something in my inner knower. I had that God wink, as Deborah was talking about earlier, that said, this is a great idea. What if? I mean, I was able to manifest that and then had the support to do that. And so I think from that gave me the courage to go out there and work with women. I ran the HR Roundtable in Boston for 17 years. I was a facilitator for that. It's just an amazing kind of thing what happens when we step into our full power, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and to get the kind of support to shore us up where we have those weak areas or soft areas.
Soft areas. And you may have noticed that I have brought on guests that have been around for a few decades. Like I was in practice longer than some of our attendees have been alive. And this is not unintentional. These women have busted through barriers at really young ages. Marie, you started selling at age 10. What incarnation did you sell at age 10?
Well, the truth be told is in grammar school, I went to a parochial school and we sold magazines as fundraisers. And I have this big Italian family. And on Sundays, all my aunties and uncles would sign up for the magazines. And I would go to school on Monday morning and I would win the prizes, all stuffed animals for my bed, by the way. And what I loved was I loved winning.
Yes.
I love the acknowledgement. I love standing in front of the room and getting acknowledged by my classmates. And it just got me the acknowledgement that I never got at home.
Mm,
And
mm,
so it was
mm.
something that really, that was a seed that was planted. And probably every single job or position that I've had through my whole life, I've had to sell or educate or develop in order to make those things happen. So I think that was another one of those God wink moments that, hey, sell some magazines, raise some money. Okay, I got a big family. Let's do it.
That is so fun because I also led my whole school in selling magazines. So that was kind of like this stepping stone to, hey, I can, first I was curious and then I can do it. I'm proving it, right? So talk to us about how you landed in your entrepreneurial space. Obviously you have a corporate background. What gave you that bridge and how did you take those first steps into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's really great. One of the guys that I worked with, just a great guy who was a training manager at another company up in New England, kept saying to me, "You should do your own thing, Marie. You should do your own thing, Marie. You're so good. You should do your own thing." He
Yeah.
really gave me encouragement. I'll tell you a little funny story is the first soiree into entrepreneurship that I ever did was I became a Mary Kay consultant because my old secretary was a Mary Kay consultant. And I said, I'll sign up to help you do blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
My boss recognized, he loved the idea, and he paid me. This is at the same association. He paid me to go to Mary Kay's seminars every year because he said, I know when you come back, you're going to be on fire and you're going to sell a lot of services. I mean, I
Wow.
was selling $100,000 corporate initiatives for training and development for big companies.
Of course.
And then I just started doing that. I learned how to recruit. I learned how to be present. I learned about Brian Tracy. I got to meet Zig Ziglar in person.
Mm.
I set a goal to meet Mary Kay and to train with her in her Dallas training center, which I got to do. And if you saw those pictures, you would fall on the floor laughing. I was a granola head hippie in Boston. Um, so I think what happened is I learned about entrepreneurship. I learned that if I had a W-2 income and I had a 1099 income, I had amazing tax benefits for having a business out of my home. I loved selling the business to other women. I hardly ever sold any products. I sold the business. And I just have always been in a business conversation. And that led to the next thing, that led to the next thing. So I've had a lot of experience selling programs, selling products, selling consumer things, selling corporate initiatives. And then I got to work with a company called Wilson Learning, which some people may know of. They have the Counselor Salesperson, which is one of their flagship programs. I worked with them for a few years doing their counselor sales professional training. So I've loved training. I'm a front of the room kind of gal. I like training, I like doing webinars, and I like teaching other people how to do those things because something like this that you're putting together for a vast community of people makes such a difference because you can speak to one person, you can speak to many. We never know how what our message is that lands out there. And we can just do such a great job by getting out there. So it I would look at my life now, and Deborah, I'm going to say I'm 72, almost 73. So I'm there with you. And, we're looking at, if I look at my life going forward, the way I'm doing business shifts over time, but the same things that I've been doing my Dharma, probably for my whole life is really being out there, making a difference, empowering and providing services that make a difference for other people and connecting them with the right people.
Wow, everyone, listen to the thread here. You have pointed out, Marie, in your writing and so forth, in your teaching, that women do business differently than men. And I get stereotypes are sometimes they have some validity, else they wouldn't be a stereotype, but there's exceptions to the rule. I'm not trying to make blanket statements.
Sure.
Yet women do business differently than men. So did you guys catch that she really didn't sell a lot of makeup per se with Mary Kay? She didn't really sell a lot of fish, if you will. She taught women how to fish. She sold the business opportunity. I mean, if you caught that in the chat, I'd like to hear, if you caught that, I'd like to hear that in the chat. This kind of Dharma, if you will, that I think she, I know she has in her DNA. I think she fostered it at a very young age. And I am completely mesmerized by women who have really busted through the barrier of whatever that stereotype that might have been when you were a kid. You didn't let that stop you and you busted through. Tell us about another bust through moment that seems to be pivotal for your experience and your experience, Marie.
Yeah, I had to really create some things. And I think one of the things that was scary is I've done a lot of things to say, I'm going to go do this. And then I have to figure out, how am I going to go do this? And one of them was moving to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And I moved from Massachusetts. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I'm a Cape Cod girl. And when I came here, I was also in a relationship. I was doing a lot of training at Delta, Coca-Cola, some of the companies here. And then my boyfriend happened to be here. And then I thought, I'm going to go for it. But I did exactly about like writing down those qualities of what I wanted to have in my next place.
Yes.
And then I said, universe, please bring me to it.
Love that.
Well, the universe brought me to Atlanta. We decided to go for it. And as soon as I got here, I got very clear that that boyfriend was not here for the long haul. I was not with him for the long haul. And I had to really take the guts to say, how can I create this life here in Atlanta? And I found it very easy. It was one of those things where you follow the nudge and you take the courage to take the nudge. Busting barriers was like, it was hard for me because I didn't know how to say all y'all. You know, I've learned how to say that. And I don't shake hands the way some of the women in the South shake hands. I had to really still stand in who I am as a leader and bring forth the conversation that would make a difference, that would attract the right audience of women that would want to grow, that would want to nurture, that would want to support other people in a professional capacity, and really go out on a limb and start organizations. I've been leading women's organizations for 40 years.
Yes, you have.
And it's been one of the biggest joys of my life. Going to Italy, leading retreats. I never knew I was going to go lead retreat. I wasn't part of the plan. I made it up one day and said, I'm going to have my birthday in Tuscany. 12 years later, here I am. It takes courage, and then you have to use your community and support and develop those relationships, because everything I need is available in community. I may not have the skills, I may not have the talent, I may not have the resources, but I promise you, someone I know has those, and I can tap in because I make good relationships. That's my business, is make good relationships.
And that you do. Tell us about the one decision that changed your life.
I think that one decision was actually joining Mary Kay in 1981, only because it was just something that was like, I'm a hippie. I don't even wear makeup. What am I going to be doing? But yes, and I think this is my message for people, is sometimes when you say yes to something, when you say yes, there's a door that opens. There's a pathway that you follow. And it's not so much we know where it's going to go. If we follow that corridor, there are going to be stops along the way. But I think what happens is that I might not, maybe I should, maybe I won't, keeps us paralyzed. So again, going from head into the heart, like, yeah, let's go play. I'll put on some makeup. I mean, it was fun. And to get to actually meet Mary Kay, who probably, was probably one of the most influential women in business in our country today. She was hilarious.
Yes, she was.
And I mean, very, very funny person. And it was really a joy to actually set that goal, to meet with her and to really learn all the resources that she had, because it wasn't just Mary Kay. It was all of what she created,
It was the dreams, right? The dreams.
It was a
get
dream.
the pink car, the pink Cadillac, right? Saying yes.
In the association, it got to be really funny, Deborah, because I work with these big companies. But when I introduced myself, I always said, my name is Marie Fratoni. I'm the marketing sales manager for AAIM, and I'm also a skincare and makeup consultant with Mary Kay Cosmetics. I promise you, no one ever asked me about AAIM, but the question I was asked the most was, do you have the pink Cadillac? And I always said, I'm on track to get it.
There you go.
It's like,
Amazing. So, I read a quote from you. Entrepreneurship is the possibility of independence and contributes to world peace.
Yes.
Explain.
Well, I really think that, I actually said that recently. And the reason I say that is so many women are taking care of homes, taking care of families, taking care of communities, taking care of school children, which is our tomorrow's citizens. And I think in so many other areas of the world where women are, if I look at places like Lebanon, if I look at places like Afghanistan, if I look at places like little Bosnia. When women work and women are out there contributing and causing community,
That's right.
they really are taking care of things, which allows for peace to happen, where people are,
Mm.
they're fed, they're watered, they're fed intellectually, they're
Yes.
schooled, and they have more power, empowerment, and I say that contributes to peace on our planet, which we all know is something that is so needed right now in this moment. And everybody here, look at what you're saying yes to, or what you want to say yes to, but you're holding yourself back. Just say yes, see what happens, see what paths open up, and look at what you do, because the world does need each and every one of us.
Oh, all right. We are opening up for questions because Marie is armed and ready with all kind of answers and advice. And who will be first? Unmute yourself.
And I can't read the chat because I had some eye surgery. Breakthrough here for me is I have no eye makeup on.
Okay.
But I can't read, so if somebody speaks it, I can get it.
All right, go ahead, unmute yourself. You can hit *6 on your phone. Debra Poneman is unmuted.
I actually just unmuted because there was a thing that said, do you want to unmute? But I do want to tell you, Marie, that this whole thing has been very, very inspirational to me, besides the fact that you look ridiculously good for your age without makeup. But you actually said something so interesting about Mary Kay, and that is that so many people who go into because I was part of a network marketing company for many years, and I sold products, and I wish that I had met you decades ago, because it was one thing to be committed to wanting people to have great products in their home, but I'm thinking of all of the people whose lives I could have changed by giving them a business that could have really changed their lives. And that's what I'm getting from you. Be courageous, know that it's our time, be a woman who doesn't just, oh, do you need some mascara, but change the world. And I just wish I had met you years ago, but I'm inspired now. So thank you so much.
Thanks for the nice comments, Deborah. Love you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Great stuff. Olivia Jones. And if you'd like,
oh my goodness, I'm having a God week moment right here. First, I'm in tears, and then I'm sitting here. She's a Mary Kay consultant, Miss Marie. I've been a consultant for 22 years. I'm still a consultant. I love the business. As I have been sitting here, listening earlier, we were talking about making people feel important. I think Debra Poneman was talking about making people feel important. And I commented in the chat that Mary Kay Ash that was one of the things that she taught.
Yes.
And she was really way above her time in terms of women in business, and even in terms of empowering women to be business owners and to be economically impactful. She had that vision even in 1963. And one of the things that my greatest takeaway today is the breakthrough barrier for me is that I'm impacting. It's the business opportunity, and I can transform people's minds, not minds, but their lives by offering the business opportunity. That's where the major transformation can occur, especially in their finances. And once I am empowered, it gives me the opportunity to empower others. I love sales. I love being able to pour into the lives of others. And it's good to be able to see, Marie, it's still possible. When you see other people who have achieved it, it is a reminder that it's possible. It's possible and achievable, and just say yes to success.
Well, Olivia, thank you for the nice comments. I was with Mary Kay from 1981 to 86. I was one of the top recruiters in North America because I sold the
Yes.
business. And I love the direct sales and the MLM industries. I participated in several over the years. And as a coach, many times people will come to me and they will say, I know I want to have a business. I don't know really what I want to do. I don't really have a particular talent. And I ask them to go research some of the companies because they're so well designed today. It's really wonderful. But you know, it's like I think too many people in the direct sales industry sell products. And so then they're committed to selling products.
Yes.
And I think, you know,
Yes.
there's that has to be that balance of what's really going to get you to the goals that you really want to have. Nothing wrong with products, but
Yes.
it's like if you really want to create the wealth, you've got to be a supplier and not a consumer. And so suppliers, what I do in
Absolutely.
my business is I help people to be suppliers so that they can be like J. Paul Getty, or they can be like Mary Kay Ash, or they can be like Debra Poneman, or Debra Morrison, or any of us on here. We are the suppliers that make the way for other people.
Amen. I
Ah,
love it. I love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
You're welcome.
very rich. Who's next? Well, I'll say real quick, in 1978, when I was just graduating college, and that makes me 66, yes, I am, I said to myself, I'm going to work for an investment company. I want an investment company. Well, that soon, you know, got to change to financial company, and they were conglomerate companies. And I looked around for an investment company or an insurance company with a woman CEO of at least one of their subsidiaries. It was a long search. And I finally landed on John Hancock, whose property and casualty CEO was a woman. And that's one of the reasons I chose them. So, boy, we want to extol leadership, female leadership. We want to support it and be mentors to others. And I can't, you know, commend each of you guests for being those leaders in corporate. And then most of you switched over to entrepreneurship. This is not nothing, women. Women have busted through barriers to get us the opportunities we have. And we have an obligation and a mission to bust through whatever barriers are here today so that those behind us can come along as we have and do even bigger and greater things. Well, as good and big
May I add one more thing to kind of tidy this up?
right now,
I would like to share my stand with you and with everybody here.
please.
And I created this a number of years ago. And my stand is that women prosper and that women get to make a boatload of money so that they can handle their lives, they can handle their communities, they can be the leaders that they're meant to be, and that they should be leading the world. And they can do that through entrepreneurship as a level of freedom and as a peacekeeping method. So with that, I just want to say thank you.
That was amazing. We
That
have a
was
couple more questions.
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Luana Bradford and then Ann Puglisi, I believe, also has a question. Luana.
Hi, Luana.
Buonasera, amica mia. How are you? Welcome back.
Buonasera.
Wanted to
We know
ask
each other.
you, one of the things you and I've talked about, and this has been a few years, about relevancy. And in your journey, you have still managed to remain relevant. And you attract women from all age groups. What would you say to us about always remaining relevant and relatable?
Oh, that's a very good point for all of us. You know, we have to pay attention to what's happening in the world. We have to pay attention to what's happening in the country. We have to pay attention to what's happening in your neighborhoods and also inside of your communities. You know, what are your communities wanting from you? What are your clients wanting from you? And I think all of us can see where things have shifted through the years. I mean, I started off being a nursery school and kindergarten teacher, right out of college. But, you know, it's like we change and we have to be with the times. And if we're not present and being relevant with the times, or what the market looks like, or what pricing looks like, or what programs look like, or events look like, we're going to be finding ourselves, you know, driving along with the gutter balls in the bowling alley. You know, we have to be present. And so I think we have to be good citizens, pay attention to what's happening in the world, and align and make a difference inside of that.
Thank you so much. And I love your gutter ball analogy. I have to use that.
I do too. That's wonderful.
It's a gutter ball or a strike, right? So good to hear from you, Luana.
Same here. Blessings.
All right, Ann Puglisi is up next.
Oh, Maria, I would love to be a woman who loves sales, but I don't. And it's part of business. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts for me.
Well, I have lots of thoughts. One is, sales is service. We can't really do the things that we're meant to do in the world unless we make that sale, that transaction that happens. But sometimes people have sales teams or they have a salesperson that works with them that they can feed, but they like to be on the phone. They like to have those conversations. So if I were speaking with you, I would ask you, what is it about sales that you don't like? What is it that holds you back? And let's dig in there, because my guess would be there's some sort of past conversation that you might be dragging around that is taking, it's kind of, you've lost your power in that area. That would be a guess because I don't really know. We haven't had that conversation, but I would really look at what about it that you don't like. A lot of people will always say, I don't want to be salesy.
Yeah.
Well, then don't be salesy. I mean, like, be of service, be a consultant, give stuff away, make friends, make relationships, speak your value in the world, because I know you have it. Maybe it's just not communicated enough in different ways.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Ann.
Wow. Well, this has been rich beyond words. And I can't thank you enough, Marie, for sharing some of your time and genius with us, as has Debra. And I invite you to stick around because there's probably going to be more questions that percolate and people will put them in the chat and you guys can feel free to communicate right there. I am blessed beyond measure to
Thank you
have
so much.
women like Marie and Debra and the other four guests to come and share their chops, their heart, their passion. Thank you so much.
Brava, darling. Brava. Really good show.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for the opportunity.
You're most welcome.